How successful couples match in Venezuela. Today we discuss.
Welcome to Venezuela Insider, the only place in Venezuela for expats, digital nomads, entrepreneurs, investors, travelers, and related internationals. For more information, venezuelainsider.com.
So today we are going to talk about how long-term dating works successfully within Venezuela. So how you see successful couples, regardless if they are between Venezuelans or a female Venezuelan and an international, or a male Venezuelan and a female international. And this video is going to be a long-term. We're not going to talk about the short-term dating. This is going to be a long-term dating and the successful cases that you see every day. Something that you have to know is the dating market in Venezuela right now is overpriced for the domestic consumer. Hence, the market is already overpriced for the Venezuelan male. Actually, what I recommend to the successful Venezuelans is actually date with foreigners, with internationals. Well, you can get a lot of gems because that's the thing. Usually that doesn't happen with the successful Venezuelans is because usually Venezuelans, we have good networks. They are gonna find someone, so they're not gonna be able to test the waters abroad. I will say still for Venezuelans in many markets, talking Venezuelan males, they're gonna have better choices in many places all over the world besides Venezuela. But the thing is, the market is so rich still that you get a lot of options or a handful of decent options if you have, the right network and such, and you're not too picky. Very good. And I'm gonna do a future video explaining why the dating market in Venezuela is getting overpriced for my taste. And it's gonna be, this typical dating and economics that they go together, because basically dating is just another market, just like the stock market, like the financial markets, like commodities, like Bitcoin, like gold and silver, you name real estate. Okay, you can take a picture per lot. I'm gonna do it for another video. Today I'm gonna explain how successful couples actually get together in Venezuela or either abroad. So what happens on a successful couple in Venezuela? There are two cases. Venezuela is a country that we don't have racism, and we don't have, we don't have these racial social issues that happens in many countries all over the world. Actually, we mingle together pretty fine on most cases. But what happens with dating is that women, we already speak about that, have this particular characteristic called hypergamy. Women only mingle with men that are over their socioeconomic status. Now, that doesn't mean that they cannot mingle among each other, let's say to people from the middle class. But usually what that happens, usually because the guy, the man, let's say is in the middle, in the same social class, but usually it's because he's very good looking, something about that, has some status because their dad has some business or something like that. It doesn't have to be rich, it's just they have particular thing. So, very good. So usually the successful dating happens amongst different socioeconomic stratas within Venezuela. A middle class with a girl with a high middle class man, or on the same status, but usually because this guy is kind of a, the cool guy on the middle class, something like that, is a musician or someone, CrossFit is very popular in Venezuela, something like that happens. Of course, you see the dating gap, sometimes a girl on the early 20s, let's say a law student or a med student, and hookups with, let's say the law student hookups with already a lawyer with some experience, or the med student with the medical doctor that is already graduated, something of that nature. Also, that happens a lot, and a lot. See it all the time. Usually, when these matches happen, is because, like I said, is socioeconomics is all the time on the table. And many times, of course, I've seen the other cases the other way around. Let's say a high middle class girl with a lower middle class guy happens, but it's on rare occasion. And when it happens, usually because it's a very good looking lower middle class guy, and a not very good looking high middle class lady, let's say a little bit overweight, something on that nature. But in most cases, when you can replicate this successfully, it's because their network. Usually the girl comes from a good family. I'm not talking about rich family, a family where, the grandpas are involved, their mother, the parents of the lady, they are together still, and they have this particular social uh, milieu that facilitates, the proliferation of good values, and found some other guy that has a similar background, and they mingle, they match, they go together. But also, there is something that happens a lot. That happens mostly on women on their, right now, early 30s, maybe late 20s. And this is something that the red pill crowd is not going to enjoy. It's not going to like, but I'm seeing a lot successfully. Let's say a female that is on her late 20s, in her late teens, early 20s, what is called the whole phase. Well, what happens is she has a whole face, and what it means is that I hope this video is not taken down. Well, what happens is on a couple of years she likes to go out to the club and so on and so on. And usually, some women here in Venezuela, this is in Venezuela, and this is women in a mid 30s to late 20s on that regard right now. It's not what I'm seeing on the younger ones, but something that I saw a lot. What happens is she has the whole face. So goes on the club a lot and likes to drink and party and going to the beach and so on and so on. Going to the beach is a big deal here. So what happens is just in a couple of years, she gets saturated of that life. Just in a few years span, let's say 2, 3, 4 years span. And she doesn't, let's say, have many partners, romantic partners on that period, let's say 2 or 3 or 4 or 5. Let's say, not as high. Well, what happens is she reach her mid-20s where with let's say 6, 7, and 8 tops, could be someone even on 2 or 3, because sometimes these women do it with a boyfriend. So very good, escorted by a boyfriend. That happens a lot here. It used to happen, at the very least. So after that, she gets bored of that life very quickly, and she wants to settle down and so on, and they become role models of good wives, beautiful children. They are good mothers, good spouses, take care of the home, also work, do a lot of things. They became super mom and super wife. I've seen it a lot, and that's something, all the guys, on the red pill and Rolo Tomasi, maybe they will disagree, but I've seen it a lot. And it's funny, and it's always something that I think about. Actually, it's something that many Venezuelan women say, just joking around colloquially, is that you need a bandida retirada, a retired bandit. They use that phrase a lot. And when they use it, I don't trust it that much. But I see a lot, actually, very, not the ones that say it, the ones that do it, the retired bandit, good wife, good with good mothers, very hardworking, have a beautiful home, a beautiful lower middle class home, with a beautiful family. I've seen it a lot, and that's what I wanted to talk about a little bit about this video. Now, for internationals, how you can generate a successful couple with a Venezuelan female. Well, what will happen is there's only 2 things that you can do it. You can meet her within Venezuela, or she's already on your country, or you fly her out to your country. That can also work out. Usually there is a spread on the age. It's an age gap. Usually, of course, the man has a better socio-economical position. So if you can take care of the partner, and also if you're a Western, usually have this, halo effect, the pretty privilege of being a Western. Also, that will help a lot. So you're going to have more shots, more opportunities in order to make something happen that is not guaranteed, but with a greater deal of success. And lastly, I'm going to talk about Venezuelan males and female internationals. Well, what happens is that happens mostly on Europe, not in the United States. most of the time, it's a funny thing. The gentlemen, the Venezuelan men that they have marry a gringa, a woman on the United States and Canada. Usually, and I'm sorry, she's ugly, she's overweight, something on that nature. Most of the time, because of some other issues going on. Because, of course, the United States doesn't have a great market overall. Now, by the way, when a gringa is beautiful, it's very beautiful. I have to say that. But it's something that is, uh, underrated right now. But most of the time, they're overweight. United States have an overweight issue. The deal. So please don't get offended by that. Well, but what happens when I see good couples, Venezuelan men and females, Western females, is on Western Europe. I've seen on Spain, on Italy, on Germany, actually a lot. German ladies, and on France a couple of times, and also of the eastern side of the European Union, Poland, Hungary, because and also the Baltics, the Lithuania. So yeah, I saw a couple of that kind of, and Dutch females with Venezuelans. Actually, there is a, I don't know, I've seen a couple of times Dutch females with Venezuelans. They hang out pretty much well, very good. And usually what happens is Venezuelan men are slick. They have game. They're outspoken. They're not introverts. So usually Venezuelan men are extroverts, and the Venezuelan men that are extroverts, and they take care of themselves a little bit, so on. Actually, they do pretty much fine. And also, I've seen a lot on the southern cone of Latin America, on Argentina, and also on Chile. So that will be all for this successful couple review in Venezuela. I cannot wait to read your comments below.
Thank you for watching Venezuela Insider. Please like, share, and subscribe. Follow us on social media. If you want to work with us, VenezuelaInsider.com. Thanks again, and have a nice day.